Okay, let's just see here. Yeah, no sound. Excellent. Og det kan jeg overhovedet ikke høre.
Perhaps down.
Ej, den skal i, skal den ikke det?
Management and organization, and how to understand the task of making technology and engineering work successfully. Technology can be defined as the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry.
And this is the introduction. It was recorded in 101 in the basement by the help of the fabulous team of DJO Media Lab.
Men er der ikke sådan en eller man putter ind, så I kan optage det?
Jo, så spiller den ikke ud den her. And we are actually basically, as you can see, using a PowerPoint presentation as our background. And it's the same concept when we do the e-lectures. It's actually basically a PowerPoint with some kind of voiceover, but we will show you in a minute. So it's very easy to produce.
Organization can be defined as a group of people with a particular purpose, the action of organizing something, or the way the elements of a whole is arranged. So, why is teamwork important for engineers? It is necessary for an engineer to be able to combine scientific skills with the general context of business processes in order to meet the needs and demands from the business environment. Furthermore, many engineers will most likely find themselves in managerial roles in their careers. Part of their success requires them to understand the aspects of organizational behavior, strategic thinking.
Skal vi tage en lecture?
Yes, let's.
That is why the purpose of the TEMO course is
So that was just a little taste of how we introduced the course here.
Organization from different perspectives.
Yeah.
You have some post-processing, don't you?
Post-processing.
Of the video tricks.
Yeah, but only with this. You know, when we make the small e-lectures, you can do it yourself. It's very easy.
Yeah, that's quite easy.
And now, at the time when we were doing it, we had no access to the new recording rooms in 101. But now you actually have 2 recording rooms where you can just go and do it.
Oh, you can do it completely on your own, or is there still some staff helping you?
Oh, completely on your own.
Completely on your own.
If you do, like, we can show you the lectures.
Yeah. One of the whiz kits the first time, and then you can do it yourself. Yes. So.
Okay. So let's see. This was like the welcoming page. Now we go into TEMO part 1.
And we have organized it like having a part 1 and part 2, and that's of course not necessary in your courses, but that's how we understand our courses running. But perhaps we should take one with the talk show.
One with the talk show? Yeah. That would be a good one. And boom, boom, boom.
Take, you can take Henriette. This is actually the last talk show this semester about change management. Henriette Diewert from Implement.
Should we just give
just
you a little snatch of it?
Let's have a little snatch to see what it's all about. And that, of course, you can't do yourself. Or you can, but it wouldn't look like this.
I can. But it takes an awful lot of time.
Yeah.
This is from the library, as you can see.
And I think perhaps sometimes you can control the sound down here.
Hello? Yeah, there we go. That helps.
Where? Oh, here. But it's all up.
So, this is our final show for the semester.
Can you hear anything at all?
But we can just show the movement. And what you can see is that over here we have a panel, we call it the X Factor panel, with Sarah and me, of course, and sometimes even Per Langgaard, but that's history now. But then we are sitting there, and whenever they're going to have their interview, she has, our talk show hostess Laurie has a little iPad on the table, so we can actually process a lot of questions to her so she can keep it going. if they're into something very interesting. And she's, of course, part of the success of the talk show. She's very important, Laurie Webb. And she's still an external lecturer.
But she has expertise in that area.
She has expertise in the area of, performing and making shows. Also hostess of workshops and seminars. And actually also radio. And she's looking for a PhD. She's originally from Stanford, so if you have a PhD, because we would like to keep her. Yeah, a PhD. But that's, I think, as enough to, yes, but,
Yeah.
but the,
And thank you for having me this morning. And I can actually definitely understand that some of us later do. I didn't, but I can understand it.
and then Henriette and the other talk show, the guests have around 20 minutes to actually make their points.
And the reason for that is my experience is that
And then afterwards, she will sit down with Laurie in the nice red chairs, and they will have a cozy conversation.
We can just continue a little here, then you can see it. Because this is her, then she's doing a presentation for 15, 20 minutes, and then there's interview.
the changes that are being implemented have the largest effect on.
And you comment on how does this link into the progression in your course?
Yeah, actually, of course, they are actually recruited by topics, because we are going through some, you can say, head topics throughout the week. So they are supposed to come and elaborate on that from their own perspective and with their own experience.
You can say the first two is, the first one is on doing case analysis. So typically we have a management consultancy presenting their way of doing management, case analysis, and also advertising almost why this is important for engineers to be able to do that. And then the second one is about business development. And this
semester it was a startup company.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
From a guy, actually a group of guys, but it was only one of them coming from England, because they actually had the TEMO course, and we helped them a little bit with their business model, and now they have achieved a large external investment, and they have moved to London. So he came back to tell how you can apply TEMO, of course, and how you can use a business model canvas.
And working with the business model.
So to actually make your dreams come true.
Always tell your students that if they succeed, we expect them to come back.
But they would actually like to do that.
Yeah.
Mikael?
The purpose of the talk show is, as I understood it, also to kind of, what can you say, collect some of the theory that has been.
Yeah.
How do you achieve that? Is it, I mean, no, I haven't seen it. So they're discussing, I assume you've chosen the guest so that she's relevant for the specific team that you're in. But how do you link it back to the theory that the students have studied?
Now they are having a discussion, which is the topic for this one is motivation for change. So this is about change management and how to redesign organizations for new strategic positions. And then they have a discussion on these issues,
And
also
a lot
with
of questions from the audience.
Yeah, and then
So just, that was his way of speaking was very much.
that's in the second part. Probably.
Fundamental thing that they need to accept is, of
Here.
course, that.
And then?
Then we are taking over when she's finished and blah, blah, blah. And then we're saying, okay, what she was saying is this. And in relation to what we are doing, then you can understand it in these ways. So it's like doing an analysis of her presentation and the cases or theories that they are presenting.
So that comes after. First is the
Yeah.
presentation.
But first they have,
Questions from the floor. And then
you have an experience, then we can discuss the experience, and then we will actually explain the experience.
So all in all, it's 1.5 hours. The first hour is with the guests and more traditional talk show, and then afterwards we are making this wrap up and sort of connecting the dots with the theories that they have learned.
Which you then have to improvise at that point, because I mean you don't know exactly what you
No, of course.
No,
So that's also exciting for the teachers. Yes, you have to show yourself. Yeah.
We have
You have to
prepared a little
know your
beforehand,
stuff.
but we are also adding. That's part of when we're sitting and watching the talk show. Actually, we're adding, and we have a small break between when the guest is leaving and the students is asking questions more personal for them. Then we are just setting the last stuff up.
But that's actually the exciting part, Michael. You never know what's going to happen, and you just have to manage.
Yeah.
Mm.
Who identifies the guest stars and make arrangements with them, and do they get a sort of flowers or wine?
Laurie Webb and us.
They don't get a salary. No, the guests don't get a salary.
They get some bottles of wine.
Yeah.
To what extent can you reuse? I mean, now you have recorded all that, and I don't know how often have you been running it? A few times now. I
Yeah.
guess. So you must have a whole back catalog
Yeah.
of previous guest stars.
And we keep them as a catalog, so you as a student can go in and see all the previous one, and then we have new guest stars each semester.
We have just a little technical on how we have designed this site. As you can see here, we have a large picture with a video. And when we are in the course of running, then this is the talk show or the introductory lecture that we are doing. And then we have below here, these are the different e-lectures. And then we have, where did that go?
I think
we have here a panel here with inspirational stuff where we put in the talk shows from previous times and other videos. I'm just...
If you go in on the lessons, yes. But I don't know if it's about the setup on the screen.
Yeah, that might. It's like it is squeezed a little here.
Yeah. And then we have an ecosystem of inspirational videos we have collected from YouTube and other places that are actually also corresponding to the topics, and there is a lot of good stuff out there. What?
Stanford has an extensive library of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anything you can recommend from anywhere?
We actually usually find it ourselves, and we have also a kind of a library now.
But I think that's
Marvelous
also
stuff.
part of how we can develop this further. That's actually also if somebody has made a really good lecture on a topic that we are also teaching, then why should we do it on our Danish, English, and
Exactly.
And with our experience, if there's somebody who's doing it a lot better, I think that would just make sense to add that instead. I think this is a little strange. We can't find the site with the panel with all the inspirational issues.
What I'm thinking, I think the idea, but
Yeah.
I think the whole challenge here is that as you break it up into bits and pieces, is how do you make the students navigate in a reasonable way, right? So because they obviously don't know anything about it.
No.
And it must be a hard time for them to dig into the subject area. And if you just put out a big here everything is, I mean, we can also just go to YouTube, you'll find everything.
Here it
there.
is.
They won't find anything.
No. That's part of the introduction to the course, that we actually show them the platform and tell them this is where you find these issues. You should go to the different lectures and also that you can here find the extra material, and this is where you find the e-lectures, and this is where you find podcasts of the talk shows and lectures.
Is that pre-structured on the platform? So, I mean, I'm just envisioning, I'm a student, I don't know anything about it. So I go to the pre-lecture, I listen, I forget it, I go home, and then I have to do this stuff. And there is tons of material. So how do I navigate through that in a feasible way? Is there kind of a main path which you recommend to follow through the material, or is it just up to you guys to find out?
At the front page, we're actually explaining how to use the platform if you were not listening at the pre-lecture or showing up. Because if you show up at the pre-lecture, we're actually signing up all together to the platform. So they actually have to do that on their computers while we're there together.
And then we are still using CampusNet because we cannot really, also to make sure that everybody actually gets the information. Since they have to sign up themselves for the platform, we cannot make sure that actually everybody has done it. So they get a message each week. This is the program for this week. This is what is going on. These are the e-lectures that you should watch so that they are guided through what is the most important things to listen to or to see.
I think I try to create a kind of a process, a learning process. So the whole course is one big process, and the students move in a kind of stage gate fashion from milestone to milestone. I make sure that the new move, and I give them an idea of how they should, what they should focus on, what they should do in the various work packages as we go. And that creates a kind of coherent learning process. And they have the feeling that they are moving forward, they pick up on this as a go, and they have a very good idea of where they should be and what they should have learned. And then I have a course manual. I get a lot of repeated questions, so I can tell them to read the fucking manual.
Yeah. So do we. I, in a nice manner, sound like you.
I think it's a good thing, and I think it works very well in the e-learning setting as well. Maybe even more important to have it there, because I agree they could easily get lost in this.
Yeah, it is working. It's because it's only for the live.
So please don't make any more cursing.
So I should practice.
No. Yeah, you also had a question.
But
Yeah, but that was more practical. You say, so where do the students have access to this? Do you use CampusNet?
no.
This is a separate platform.
Yeah, it's a separate platform.
Yeah.
They link up to.
Yeah.
Okay. Could we get access to that?
Yeah.
I mean, so we need to log in. Or
Yeah, you can have
You
access.
can get a login.
And you can even build your own course. As we'll come to that, you can use the platform to build your own course. We'll come to that in a minute. And I think you also need to have an answer to your question, Beat, about how we organize the talk shows. I don't think we answered that. But we have an editorial team, Sarah, me, and of course also Miss Webb, that are finding out who are coming to be, who are going to be our guest stars this semester. We contact them. And we plan the questions, and then it's actually the job of Laurie Webb to make them ready for the show.
The talk shows are fairly instructed, I would say. This is what we are teaching the students for this week, and this is what we would like you to illustrate. So this is how they are instructed. We don't, of course, tell them what exactly to say, but we present them with the frame and brief them in that direction. So there's a good correspondence between what we would like them to know.
And Mr. Borg?
Yeah, I got this. So, is this integrated with the CampusNet?
No.
Or is it
We actually did that on purpose because if you have to integrate anything with CampusNet, you have to go to 101 and ask the IT guys what's possible. And you know what they will say?
It's not possible.
Nothing is possible, mate.
If it says possible, it's not possible.
Yeah.
My point is if something could be done on that, because my experience and Chile can support that with the Industrial PhD course is that if you have too many entrance points, you have to have the same information at too many platforms, and you make mistakes, and the students certainly make mistakes. Look at the wrong place and they didn't see it and why.
You have to talk for yourself now, Christian. Yes, that's about the mistakes, but yes, it's true. But you can actually use this platform for everything. You can also have information. You have that on our front page. You have a calendar. You have the possibility of sending out information as you do on CampusNet. You can also upload articles and other stuff here. So actually, you don't have to use CampusNet if you actually prefer only having one platform. But we're still doing it as a service.
And because we want to make sure that all students get the necessary information if they haven't for some reason registered on the platform.
But then this is some information to CERN that you should
That's like I think that's like an Obama thing. You can spend 4 years on that and then accomplish nothing.
I have another question which relates to the platform itself.
Mm-hmm.
To what extent that you actually is flexible in terms of changing the platform. So this is just one platform, but there are multiple platforms out there for doing some of the stuff. So we actually have an agreement with Coursera. So I would just like to know what are the rationales behind that you've chosen this model and not some of the other models, and to what extent are you actually
First of all,
sticking to this platform that you actually are using at the moment?
First of all, it's an open source platform, so it can be used by all kind of devices. As we're not married to IBM or to Microsoft or to anyone else, it's an open source platform. It's actually built on a program called Java Drupal, and it works on all platforms. Secondly, we wanted to have our own platform which we can control, and that's the purpose about Coursera. You cannot control Coursera, and at some point you will perhaps also see that they're going to change their business model.
And when we started out this project of creating a platform, Coursera was a true MOOCs, is that the word?
Yeah.
You would say so. It was actually for the whole world. During this process, they have also developed a more closed environment, and we actually wanted the closed environment. We didn't see the world as the playground here with the TEMO course. It was very specific for DTU students, and the context around it is also for DTU students. And we didn't actually have an intention of changing that. Also because I think a course like this is not general, like teaching I don't know, some biophysics or something like that.
And thirdly, it was also, to be honest, a matter of, I was also thinking a bit about how we could apply this within the DTU business. And we're not going to deliver our services on a free platform. So, and furthermore, it's also about marketing, you know. All the TEMO students right now could actually be customers within the DTU business in 7 or 10 years, and I'd like to keep track on them.
So let me just make a little suggestion. I don't think we should talk about the comparing this platform to any other. Obviously, we are and have to make a decision at DTU at some point in time of what kind of a multitude of platforms could be used or should be used, and there are many aspects into that. And I know there's some path dependency that shows that, and so that's fine. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we are locked into using this or something else. We have to find out. I think currently it's about getting most flowers up, and then we can always for playing what do afterwards.
Yeah. And it's a good question, Christian. And Coursera is just wonderful for the people who love that. Yes. One last thing about Coursera, and then no more Coursera.
Yeah, but I don't want to make it a Coursera issue, but I just see some really interesting opportunities with Coursera because you actually address more or less the whole world initially or at the end. Of course, you can have this closed environment, and that makes perfect sense if you want to just have it on DTU. But it actually also expose actually some of the great teaching and
yes, you're right.
skills that you actually have here at DTU to the whole world. So we actually, it's an outlet for some of the researchers that we actually. Yeah.
And that's exactly the point, Christian. Yeah. That's what's your purpose in life, and you as a researcher would like to be known from as many people as possible. This is more about making a course, see if we can earn some money on a course, because we're also we're actually negotiating on selling this for instance, EDA, or for instance also such a JIF, because they have a lot of people who would like to learn this, and then we can make a platform and make some money, and that's completely different, yes? So it's a matter of your point of perspective, and I can understand your perspective perfectly.
Yeah, John Bailey.
You said no more on Coursera, but I do have one thing to say. For me to say Coursera is almost a religion. You make further education a commodity for the world, everyone.
Yeah.
And that is great. And it is easy to fall in love with that idea.
Yeah.
But I think that even before you think about Coursera or anything else, I can see, CampusNet is fit for beginners in e-learning. I mean, you can put all your video takes in the file sharing on CampusNet, and you can send out messages to your students that today you should see this video and come to the class for a group work later. Very low practical, but it works and your e-learning is flying. And then later, when you are a seasoned e-learning teacher, you can think about disseminating the whole thing via Coursera or anything else. But I think it's, I mean, Coursera is just a tool.
I don't know whether you're coming to that, but I have more, to the inner works of what you're doing here. So, because up to now we've seen the videos and the lectures and the talk shows, you also talked about exercises. And I'm not talking about the TA casework exercises, but do you have anything, which links together, or like quick tests or small stuffs which you make people work on? Because up to now it's basically it's a one-way communication to some extent, right? Until they meet the TAs and work in their group.
As on the platform, we have a module with all the quizzes and all the testers that we can integrate. So you can integrate, I think there is more than 100 quiz forms you can introduce, and you just have to fill out some questions. So it's also possible to do that.
Are you really running some quizzes already, or
no? We're not running any at the moment, but we're going to in the next semester. Then we are going to introduce the quizzes. We also have integrated the social medias, so now you can communicate. If you're on the course, you can see who you already know from social media also having the course, and you can communicate actually from this platform on Twitter and Facebook and so on, and still be on the platform. So we're trying to integrate social media and also now introducing the quiz part and also the testing, because that's of course extremely important too.
And that's also, I would say, part of making the e-course fly here, that this is the next big step. Now we have sort of made the frame, we have made the content for being able to move into this platform, and now it's going to be more interactive. That's definitely the next step. Also to make the students to ensure that they can actually test themselves along the way. Did I then understand this right or not, or do I have to practice some more? Also for this, to really go to the extent of you can actually take this course at your own level and corresponding to your own ambition level.
Is there any element of peer coaching or anything like that thought into that now already?
No.
Or no?
But there is also a module within the platform where you can make peer coaching. So it's actually part of the platform, so you can apply it if you like in your course, for instance. But we're not doing peer coaching because we have so many students, and they are not really. It's an introductory course, so we cannot really believe that they are able to peer themselves.
In an informal way, you could say there is, when they're doing in the first part, they're doing their presentations, they also comment on each other, but it's not that they have to, or we point another group to say, now you will do the feedback for this group, or when they are doing their presentations for the companies, other students also might ask questions, but it's not formally planned. But there you could also extend these parts to actually be more peer coaching oriented. I think when we have talked, because of course we are also talking about, we've discussed that several times with you about this oral exam, should it continue or not? Or could we maybe imply peer coaching elements here or peer assessments? And I think at the moment, one of the big challenges here is, of course, also these different levels of ambition. Would you, and especially trust, would a very ambitious student trust to be evaluated or assessed by one who is not as ambitious as they are? So. And will it then be, and I think it's possible to make the system to make it work, but whether the students will have faith in this in the system, I think is a big challenge here.
Well, sometimes you could turn it even one further. You could say it's that you comment on someone else, but it's not that's not the someone else who's graded, is the one who giving the comments.
Giving the comments, yeah.
You see? So that then you make it work that the very ambitious one even can become even more ambitious because helping the others even better. But I think that's a way also to move forward, because this is a possibility in this context here with already people being more not located in the classroom the same way. Then suddenly more of those opportunities emerge. And I think we need to take advantage of that a little bit more. And because I know, I mean, we have long discussion on an oral exam is also something where some kind of learning materializes, because you start reflecting together and all that stuff. On the other hand, it's extremely expensive, and particularly with classes like that. And if we can combine, I'm not saying that's the solution, but if we could combine, for example, a multiple choice test together with elements of peer coaching with feedback and some else, then suddenly we may end up in a situation where the whole package maybe delivers the same value in terms of learning, however, at a much lower cost. We have to figure out whether that's possible, I think. But it's and because we run into more and more problems, right? In ingeniørfagensvidenskabsteori, in your course, and many more of these, if you should you to run like oral exams all over with all those courses, you're going to be killed.
Not only money-wise, also people-wise.
In particular, people-wise, right? That's the opportunity cost, which is the most important one.
Sure. So we believe, or I believe, that peer coaching is really good in courses where the students have actually decided themselves to be in the course, but not on mandatory courses. And this is just a short example on how we make the e-lectures with no sound, probably.
No, I just took it up.
When we implement a business and you probably can hear my extremely nice voice, yes? And then it's just going through some slides, and there's not a lot of hocus pocus in it. And they probably will last for something between 3 and 10 minutes, and then taking one, and then we actually break down our material, so it's some short e-lectures, 1 or 2 topics at a time.
Oh yeah. There you go.
So this is quite far from, we call it lectures. You have a speech and you have a slide.
Yeah, speech and slides.
And 10 minutes approximately at the maximum.
Yeah, but then there might be 5 e-lectures under each part, yes? But then you can take them one by one instead of having 1 hour and a half. And when did he say that and this?
But this also means that a lot of your e-lectures are done at the desktop and not in the walk-in studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you could do the other way around, but then you have perhaps a video of 2 hours, which is not very customer no, it's not very customer friendly.
Myself on
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, of course, as if you like that, you might prefer that, but as on the other hand, and you can change this, easily, yes?
You can also, if it's because you like to have pictures or more, more lively pictures, you could also record yourself. This is made just by ourselves with a program called Camtasia, where you just record your own voice while you are seeing the slides moving on. But you could also have a camera.
Yeah, it's possible to see you here, John, if you like that.
Yeah. I would rather not.
Have you experienced pencast or something like that?
We haven't experienced, or we haven't experimented, I would say, with that one. But we could do that. It was when we did these. This was, for the first time when we did that last January, to get the experience of it and saying, how can we do this without using a lot of money for the first take and spending a lot of extra money on many videos. We did these small videos. Let's see how these are working. And pencast could be continued.
Yeah, and you can integrate all kind of programs within the platform, so it's not a matter of doing one or another. I think Christian has something.
Yeah, but that was just in terms of, well, do you want to have a picture on yourself while doing the slides? And I think I talked to a professor in pedagogics the other day in Copenhagen University, and they're actually also very interested in this stuff because it's going to change more or less the whole educational system. They believe in one way or the other. And we discussed some of the experiences so far, and as far as I recognize, at least from a Coursera platform, there is that it is actually much more involving for the students to see the actual lecture, even though you might not feel comfortable yourself. But it's a matter of kind of making the content personal. I think that's actually...
Especially if you're going to talk for half an hour or more, yes. But if it's only 2 or 3 minutes, it's not necessary.
Okay, if it's only 2 or 3 minutes,
yeah. And that's what we're talking about here, yes.
But also, if this was the only thing that was sort of providing the content, then I would say it was far too non-dynamic, actually. But it is supported both by meeting us a lot of times and by the recordings of us. So this part of also having a relationship, a social relationship to the course or the setting that you're part of, and because of course that's also part of creating a good learning environment. I would say that still exists, so this is just a minor part of it. So,
do we know anything about what the students prefer? Do we know? I mean, for example, what if we put up a 15 minutes video? Do they all jump out after 3 minutes, or do they stick on? Or I mean, do we have any knowledge about that?
No, we don't have any knowledge about how when do we lose them. No, we don't.
Well, I guess there's plenty of knowledge out there, not for TEMO, but there's been a lot of research.
And we're going to make a survey among the students where we collect 20 to make some kind of a panel where we will go through everything with them to find out how they use it and what they think about it.
And I actually, well, for the Coursera part, I know that there are some really heavy statistics underneath the whole Coursera platform. Because I probably think that they'll be able to see when people actually tap out of the...
But you should be very careful to look into the topics because social science is not necessarily comparable with
on top of it,
other types of science.
It very much depends on how it's structured, right? Because it may be that in a given situation where you have to solve a case and you saw a video with someone explaining you 5 minutes, and then you may want to dig in deeper and you may stay on for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just want to have a quick information or something, you just don't take that long. So I think it really depends on how we design.
Yeah, and who is actually making the lecture.
The learning path, right? The way of where are I in this path?
Yes.
And who's actually making the lecture. Some are very good at making lectures and others are really not that good. And that will also, of course, you can't hide that on a video. As if you're boring, you're still boring, yes?
These short videos was a recommendation both from the people behind this platform, but also from the people we talk with at Learning Lab, saying that, well, people will not see something that lasts for more than 15 minutes, maybe even only 10. So it has to, so to keep the attention, just keep it short.
Keep it as short as possible, and then perhaps more chunks.
Yeah.
But if now let's say but by all means, if you have, I think we would all agree that you can certainly split up many of our lectures into 3-minute bits. That will work probably quite often. However, it would not give the whole picture. And a lot of the connections between the pieces and bits is how do you secure that? Is that through the talk shows or through your lectures or through your case? Or I mean, I think we have to be much more specific in terms of how do we facilitate that things are connected.
Yeah, very good question. And I think that's also because of course now you might have the same lecture as was taking 3 hours before, of course including breaks and so forth. And now it maybe takes half an hour or 45 minutes. And what is missing? The questions that the students had before, where we then enlarged with the different examples and so forth, they are not part of this. So that has to be thought through. How can we actually put this kind of content into that?
And to some extent, yes, the big picture is actually given at the talk shows, and then we're also visiting the classrooms in the afternoon and giving the big picture. Then you have to give something from yourself, yes?
I think the question comes up, they have the book. If it's a good book, there's already a presentation. So what is it we want to add here? And is that added by these shorts? I mean, you could just as well find a book that has this kind of summary, basically, and then you can dig in deeper. So I think exactly what you said, the dialogue, the discussion, the questions that someone poses, which is answered, expanding on it, and really answers a question of half of the students in the room. Yeah. But they don't get that if there's not a dialogue.
No. And you can say the e-lectures is actually highlights from the books, where we're actually, you can say, selecting as an editor what is important for you to understand. Yes? So it's a help after you have read the book.
But what you're saying is actually also what is going on in the talk shows, and when we, as Søren said, is visiting the classes. And of course, so for the students to get the most out of it, it really requires that they then have read the book, that they have prepared also, that they have, what are my questions? What am I in doubt of here? What is it that I don't understand? And that they are then prepared also to ask for that. And I think...
It's not a standalone. You still need to meet your students.
So in that context, have you tried to chat with the students?
Yeah, we could have chats, but 350 people chatting. I like to see my children sometimes too.
Actually, we have. Of course, it's also possible when we have the live streams at the moment, and some students are also requesting it. But actually, for now we are saying no to have chat integrated with the live streams, because we would also like them to be motivated to still show up. Otherwise, they can just stay home all the time and not really
it should be possible to achieve something extra by being there, we think.
But you might consider having an hour at some point where the chat forum is open.
Yeah.
And all those who really burn for something have really important questions to suddenly turn up.
But they write an email today.
Yes, they do, and that takes even more time.
Yeah.
I have tried the chatting with the Skype, and I found it worked extremely well. Because whenever you ask the question, they start thinking, digesting, analyzing in the other end. Instead of just having a dialogue running, they have to spend maybe 5-10 minutes before the next follow-up question comes.
And you might also have it throughout the semester, John, like they do in UK at most universities, yes? You're supposed to do things yourself, and then you have 1 hour a week where you can ask your professor, and you can do that.
I think we also have possibilities here at DTU. Now I can't remember the classroom, maybe you know. There is a classroom where you can do recordings yourself, which is just prepared for doing live streams, right?
Yeah, in building 324.
Yeah, exactly. So when we develop this concept further, you could actually see, okay, there is some students in this semester have trouble with understanding these concepts. So you can make a pop-up lecture of this, and you can actually do that at any given time when it both suits you and some of the students, and they can come along and you can live stream it and send it out as a podcast afterwards. So this flexibility of actually responding to what this particular semester's students would like is also part of it as an extended chat.
And we're surprised each semester.
Yeah.
And it never stops.
Part of the point with the chat will be the peer, peer learning, peer teaching, peer education. That I mean, it's not like, okay, they ask a question, they expect Søren or Sarah to answer, but they throw it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this, and then they comment. I mean, have you thought about that? Would you somehow try to motivate that? That it happens. I mean, you have so many students here that there should probably be a qualified forum, even if it's only 20 of them that really can do that.
And
the others would benefit from it.
And that is actually possible on the platform.
Yeah, so we have
today.
A forum already,
and
it's like you say, it's 30 or 40 students using it, but they are very engaged, yes?
And it's mostly, I would say, at the moment on the technical issues when they're talking together, because there was at some point some of the videos didn't work, so they would say, "Can you make your videos work?" And and then it's always on the technical issues, not really on the content. Maybe they're using each other in groups also.
I mean, also in the interest of making it more efficient in terms of our teachers' time. If you know, the more they can teach each others.
Yeah.
And then you could be in the background, and of course, if you know, interrupt or inspire something, whatever. But really, you know, if somehow this could be motivated, that they use each other much more through a chat form, I think that could be interesting.
But and we would love to do that, but we have a special challenge with this course because more than 90% are not management engineering students, and they know absolutely nothing about social science. Most of them hate it, and they had it perhaps as in high school at first G, and that's it. So we have to start from the bottom, and we cannot let them teach each other because then it's wrong. Yes? So we have to lift them, and then hopefully you can do that because they have been lifted just a little bit, yes? So we have these, you can say, special issues here where a lot of the stuff you're saying, it's wonderful, and we would really wish we could do it, but we can't because they have to.
But for you, if you would like to join this way of doing courses, it's actually possible also to support these things.
And we don't need to see some of the videos from our ecosystem. It's just some quite fantastic.
There were the additional ones. Good.
And you know, as it could be something from TED. Some of the big thinkers have made videos. This is, for instance, why should anyone be led by you? You know, it was a hit some years ago. Yes, is that it?
It's an idea whose time has come.
And so forth. And you know the RSA movies, yes?
Do you pay anything for that?
No.
And it's legal.
It's all.
So we're only collecting it from the official free sources.
Last year in
And
the US.
if we can't do that, we won't use it.
71% of the American
I used to use John Cleese's lecture on creativity. It's outstanding.
Yeah,
But suddenly they found out they could make money on it.
of course.
Others thought so too.
But you can find a lot also on, for instance, TED, and that's free still, if just they are mentioned, yes? And that's super lectures, yes? If anything.
We haven't talked a lot about the other half of your course where the TAs are in charge. That's maybe because that's the way it always used to be, and we haven't really worked a lot on that. But I think that part has increased in importance compared to when we do this now here. And any thoughts on or any ideas of what you would do with that respect in the future, if you haven't touched it yet?
Yeah, what we have already done, because before I would say they were all alone in the afternoons. Now we join them and to be present, because since they don't meet us at a traditional lecture and they might not show up at the talk show, who are our teachers actually? So we go to the classrooms in the afternoon and take 3 classes each and say hello. We both to assist the TAs if they have any questions that they've had from the students that they don't know how to answer, either on the curriculum but also more practical issues. And then we just spend some time in the classes. So if there is any students who have any questions for us, they can also address them there. And then we attend the presentations that the students are doing in the end of the lecture. And then we take each one class at a time. So all students will also get some feedback from us along the semester. Because of course there's a lot of, what would you call it? Yeah, a lot of social norms developing where the teachers are and when they are together. And before, when we had the traditional lectures, we were also informally saying, what is this course? What do we expect from you? And they will learn a lot from the notions that we use to get into the language in this course, which they don't do at the same point today. So when we are present in the classes, that's also part of this social process around the course.
And it can be spared. As you need to be present. As I said before, I don't believe in this as a standalone. You also need to be present at some point.
So in terms of using our time, I would say we're not using less time.
No, but we're using it in a more...
the course, but we are using it very, very differently.
In a more student-friendly way, instead of just making lectures one-way communication, it's more like listening to see what's your problem and what do you not understand. Let's have a look at that.
And the TA part, so those are prepared cases you have made up, right?
Yeah.
Where there are, and how is that handled? It's like that. Do you have a case? They have to read it up, and then there are some questions they have to answer, or
Yes.
do they identify them themselves, or what is?
They have some key questions to answer, and then they have the case analysis. You have a process they should follow.
Yeah.
And the TAs are, of course, aware of that, and we have been discussing the cases with them. We are eating lunch with them each Wednesday before they're going to the classes, and then we discuss the issue of the week and how they should handle this and this. So what one might say we could do also as an effort at our department could be to do more for our TAs and perhaps make a pool of TAs that we could apply in more courses. Investing a little more in them, because we could actually use them for 2 years, yes? So we could have some super TAs that could be part of more than one course, perhaps, I don't know. But it's actually a very...
They have to finish their studies.
Yeah, but then they could take perhaps a half year more. Yes, it's much more, they get so much out of it.
You don't want them to take half.
No. But you know, if they are very bright, they can do it and still pass, yes? I think it's a valuable resource that we should also consider.
It's better than they hear than they're in a gas station making.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they're not. I think many of them are doing quite interesting stuff. That's why they have more expensive cars than you and me.
Yeah. Any last comments or questions? Because otherwise,
Yeah,
I think
we're out of time, and we are actually would like you to invite the ones of you who think this is interesting at all to a course builder session where we can help you set up your course to see how it works. Yeah. But I think that would be interesting for them, only for those of you who would like to test it.
So as Michael suggested, could we get a login to
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
We will send a login to all of you so you can have your own experience. And then if you like to go through a course builder session, please send an email and we'll do it together. We actually have a copy-paste function here, which is very easy to set up a course. You can make a clone of this course and then just, you only need to fill out your own stuff. So it's not like designing a lot of stuff yourself. Okay?
Well, thank you very much.
thank you.